Today, in the first in the series of talks about significant numbers, I'm going to talk about pi. As a mathematician and engineer, I find many numbers fascinating, but for me, pi is probably the most interesting. So, what is pi? Well, as all of you will probably know, pi is what you get if you divide the circumference of a circle, that's the distance around the outside edge, by its diameter, that's a straight line through its centre. And as most of you will also have learnt in your maths lessons at school, that number is usually calculated to 2 decimal places and is commonly recognised as 3.14. But what you might not know is that this number is infinitely long. That is, if you keep on dividing the circumference by the diameter, you get a never-ending number. Pi is sometimes represented as the fraction 22/7, which only gives us an approximation of the ratio. This figure has given us in Europe Pi Approximation Day, which is celebrated on the 22nd day of the 7th month, that is, July the 22nd. However, in the United States, World Pi Day is held on March the 14th, which in American date notation is written as 3/14, representing the first 3 figures of the decimal representation of pi. Many educational institutions hold special events on these days. First, I'll talk a little about the significance of pi. Pi has fascinated scholars, mathematicians and scientists for thousands of years, and for many, this fascination involves calculating its value with increasing precision. It has numerous practical uses. One of the reasons pi is so well known and studied is that it can be found in so many different formulae. As its ratio relates to circles, it is essential in both trigonometry and geometry, and can also be found in dozens of formulae relating to physics, cosmology, electromagnetism, engineering, geology, probability, and statistics. So, let's have a brief look at its history. Well, we have to go right back to the ancient Babylonians to see that some understanding of pi has been around for a long time. As they were building their city, the ancient Babylonian town planners took a great interest in geometry, and as far back as the 20th century BCE, they discovered that if you divide a circle's circumference by its diameter, you always get a number in the region of 3. Their exact calculation gave this ratio a value of 3.125, which is only 0.5% outside the true value of pi. We have numerous historical accounts of pi. One of the earliest dates back to the 2nd century BCE and is on an ancient Egyptian papyrus scroll. This version of pi is in fact a copy of an earlier document and, although not entirely accurate, is within 1% of its true value at 3.160.